Cimoooooooo!
What's going on, guys? It's Cimoooooooo. Now today I wanted to bring to you my top 5 cards from Rivals of the Pharaoh. The set drops this week. It's kind of a cool set. There's a lot of OG anime reprint cards in the set, but there's some very specific cards that I'm actually really excited for, and I want to bring you a list of my top 5. So to start off with number 5, we have Silver's Cry. Now Silver's Cry, we already have this card out, but the reason it's on the list is because now we're going to get it in Super Rares. So my inner rarity whore just loves the fact that this card is going to be in Super. I've seen it already, it looks fucking beautiful, and I couldn't be more excited to just further max rarity out my Blue Eyes deck. So a lot of you guys might be excited for that as well. Number 5 is kind of just a throwaway slot, but we're going to get into some of the newer cards next. So number 4 and number 3 are kind of together because they kind of play, the two cards go together. So number 4, let me get out my phone here because I do need to actually get the effects. So number 4 is Silent Sword Slash. Now for those of you who don't know what this card does, the effect reads, it's a quick play spell card, target one Silent Swordsman monster you control. That monster you control gains 1500 attack and defense, and if it does, until the end of this turn, it is unaffected by your opponent's card effects. This card's activation and effect cannot be negated. You can banish this card from your graveyard, add one Silent Swordsman monster from your deck to your hand. Now, why this is important is because it's going to be going in tandem with the new Silent Swordsman monster, which is in my number 3 slot. Now, for those of you who don't know what this card does, Silent Swordsman is a light warrior level 4 with 1000 attack and 1000 defense. His effect reads, cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned from your hand by tributing one warrior type monster and cannot be special summoned by other ways. Once per turn during the standby phase, this card gains 500 attack. Once per turn during either player's turn, when a spell card is activated, you can negate the activation. If this card is destroyed by battle, or if this card in its owner's control is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, special summon one Silent Swordsman monster from your hand or deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. So, that was a mouthful. But the biggest takeaway there, the plus 500 every standby phase is kind of irrelevant. That doesn't really matter. The biggest thing about this card is that it's a mini number 38 Hope Harbinger in the fact that once per turn, during either player's turn, as a quick effect, it's going to be able to negate the activation of a spell card. And that's huge because in this format, we have so many powerful spells running around, and the fact that you can just drop this on your turn and just pretty much give yourself blanket protection from any spells your opponent might use during your turn, and then be able to disrupt their turn with any spells they might use, is just fucking crazy. Now, a lot of you might be thinking, well, this is a little bit weird because it's kind of a really awkward summoning condition because you have to tribute a warrior type monster to do so, and all that. So kind of where am I going with this? Well, Phantom Knight Burning Abyss, all the Phantom Knights are warriors, and Dante is also a warrior. So, interestingly enough, you could make some pseudo-hybrid PK Fire Silent Swordsman deck because, let me give you an example. You could summon, 2 Burning Abyss monsters, right? You make your Dante, you mill 3. One of the cards you mill happens to be the Silent Swordsman spell card, which you can then banish to add a Silent Swordsman to your hand. Now let's say, also in this hypothetical example, you banish one of your traps that allows you to special summon Phantom Knights from the graveyard. Well, you could banish that, summon one of the Phantom Knights, then you could tribute that Phantom Knight for your Silent Swordsman, and then you can also make a Beatrice if you have another Burning Abyss monster in hand, and then with that, say you have another, say you had Silent Boots, that was the monster you tributed for Silent Swordsman, you can banish that to get a Fog Blade from your deck, and then your opponent has to deal with a first turn Beatrice, Silent Swordsman, which can negate a spell card, plus a Fog Blade. That seems pretty fucking good to me. And then if they destroy the Silent Swordsman, you can just tech one copy of Silent Swordsman level 7, which if you don't know what that does, it basically negates all spell effects, period. So it's just fucking crazy. Plus it's 2800 attack. So Silent Swordsman actually has some interesting potential, depending if there's any warrior-based decks like PK Fire. Heroes is another example. Really interested to see if anyone might play with this and see if anyone could come up with something really cool, because spell negation in the current format is huge. Now for number 2 is Tribute Burial, and again, I'm going to pull up my phone here because I want to make sure that I'm reading the effect properly So Tribute Burial's effect reads, you cannot special summon for the rest of this turn. Once during this turn, you can conduct a tribute summon that requires 2 tributes by banishing 1 monster from each player's graveyard instead of tributing. And it's still treated as a tribute summon. So why this is cool is because this actually is a really nice tool that Monarchs can utilize. It's not like this amazing like auto 3 of, but the fact that you basically get an instant way to tribute summon out a Monarch without needing any monsters on the field, all you need to do is banish 1 monster from both players' graveyards, and you get to summon an Erebus or an Aether or any of your other, you know, rank 8, level 8 Monarch cards. So that's a really cool tool. Monarchs are already still somewhat playable, as we've seen. They've topped some regionals and things like that. This is just another tool they're going to be able to utilize, and if you really love Monarchs, you're going to really love Tribute Burial as well. So last but not least, for my number 1 slot, you guys are never going to see this coming. It's Lullaby of Obedience. Now, I've already done a Throwback Thursday on Lullaby of Obedience, just because of the anime effect is even crazier, but the fact that we're getting this in real life, oh man, the new effect is just even, I honestly think the new effect is better than the anime effect, to be perfectly honest, but I'm going to go ahead and read the effect for those of you who don't know what this card does. The effect reads, pay 2,000 life points and declare 1 monster card name. Your opponent looks at their deck, reveals 1 of the declared monsters, if there is any, and applies 1 of the effects. The opponent chooses whether or not with that monster, if they're going to add it to your hand, or special summon it to your side of the field in attack position, ignoring its summoning conditions. So, that's really fucking good, because there's honestly the list is so extensive for why this card is good. Just some quick examples. For example, if you're playing in a Burning Abyss PK Fire Mirror match, if you activate this, say Terror Top, which you know they're going to be running, they are either going to add that Terror Top to your hand, or special summon it to your field, which will trigger it, meaning you can search Tecton, summon that, and then basically do all your shit just nice and easy from there. A few other examples is you could call a limited monster like Dark Destroyer or Aether the Heavenly Monarch, and even if you don't even have the ability to use the card or get any benefit of its effect, the fact that you're going to be taking that out of their deck so that they don't have the ability to use it is fucking massive in terms of the ability to just do that and to control the board entirely, because you're taking one of their best power cards out of their deck. Hell, even if you take their tour guide out of their deck if they're playing Burning Abyss, they're not going to have access to that, and that's essentially one of their biggest power plays. This card really shines in mirror matches because in the mirror matches where there's the most synergy between Lullaby of Obedience and the rest of your cards, again, I already used the example with PK Fire, but with the Blue Eyes mirror match, you can just take Blue Eyes monsters and it gets really fucking crazy. Oh my god. You can also just manipulate Lullaby of Obedience. If you have a Thunder King Ryo, for example, your opponent can't actually add the Lullaby or the card off of Lullaby of Obedience to your hand, so they're forced to special summon it to the field. So that's just another cool trick you can do. There's so much potential with Lullaby of Obedience. I cannot wait to see what people come up with. But those are my top 5 cards. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about the whole set as a whole and what your favorite cards are coming out in Rivals of the Pharaoh. So, thank you all so much for watching the video. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Cimoooooooo!